Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I've got a Sig P320 chambered in 9mm, this happens to be the compact, and I've got our TACOPS, which is based on the carry chassis in this particular, or the carry frame size in this particular one. And we happen to be lucky enough to be able to borrow this Sig P320 again from the local viewer that had lent us to it quite a while back. And we've had some questions about what are the differences between the TACOPS and a regular P320. And since we have these two here, I'm going to show you that. And then a little bit later I'm going to talk about some of the differences I'm seeing that you could consider generational differences. This one was one of the very early ones. He got it shortly after they released it. And this TACOPS represents the latest state of it. This is a very new gun, and it would be based on the latest components. And some of the things they've changed that aren't really directly related to the TACOP itself, but things that might be interesting to see that Sig has changed as they've evolved. The TACOPS, you can almost consider it a marketing package. Basically what Sig likes to do is create packages where they take various features and parts and they bundle them together and they sell them, under a particular name, TACOPS, or some of the other variations they've got. But the actual internals and mechanics of the gun are the same. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these and demonstrate that they're unloaded. That was unloaded. And that one is unloaded. Okay, probably the most notable difference and the most obvious difference, the one you can see at just a glance, is the TACOPS does come with a threaded barrel. And you can get threaded barrels in some of the other variations of it, and you can also buy threaded barrels, but the TACOPS comes right from the factory with it. The Sig barrels are a little bit difficult to get a hold of as far as trying to make your own TACOPS by getting a Sig Sauer threaded barrel. When I looked online to see about getting them, they're kind of sparse. And that is a bit of a problem with Sig. A lot of their parts are hard to come by, especially these grip frames can be difficult to get. One of the other visible differences, and there were some complaints people had, and it cycles around the takedown lever. I'm going to show you the original takedown lever first. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can kind of see the profile. I'll put my hand up there so you can kind of see it. It's kind of ramp shaped, kind of like a bevel, and it sticks out significantly at the bottom. It's a little more flush at the top. And it is very easy to get a hold of to operate it, but this is only used to take the gun down. It's never used in any part of the normal operation of the gun. So being able to grip it with your finger or something like that's kind of a little less important. On the TACOPS, and I've heard from some other viewers who have commented on some of our videos that they've bought newer non-TACOPS versions that have this, you'll see that the takedown lever is pretty much flush. It's very thin, it doesn't have that ramp at the bottom, and it's still easy to get a hold of to take the gun down, but it's not like you're trying to get a hold of it while you're operating it and trying to do it with a finger. You're pretty much going to do it by driving it down with a thumb. And I have heard you can get these aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but you can get them from Sig after the fact. And some of our viewers that have commented on their video that have bought a P320 other than the TACOPS, theirs came with that. So I think Sig may be moving in that direction. Another thing that you'll get with the TACOPS is you'll get suppressor height sights. And these are the Sig Light night sights, and they're suppressor height. And to demonstrate the difference, this one has Sig Light night sights that are normal ones. And you'll notice the suppressor height ones stick up significantly. And that would make sense with the threaded barrel. The goal of something with the threaded barrel would be to put a suppressor on it, and the suppressor height sights are going to help you sight over that suppressor. You can get these sights yourself, but again, it comes, it's just part of the package. One of the other things that you're going to find with the TACOPS, and this is one thing where this gun's not quite a perfect comparison because this is the compact grip frame, and its factory magazine is 15 rounds, and it fits flush. The TACOPS comes in two different frame choices: the carry, which is this one, and the full size. And what you're going to find with the carry and the full size, they have the same grip height. It's 5.5 inches, and it's 5.3 on this compact. But all of the carries or the full sizes will be 5.5. In the regular Sig Sauers, whether it's the full size or the carry, you're going to get this 17 round flush mount magazine. And when it fits up in there, it'll fit up nice and flush. So this is what you would get if you bought a carry or a full size. The 15 round, of course, wouldn't fit, It'll go in, but it won't lock because it's too, the frame is too long. It's 0.2 inches longer. The TACOPS comes with these 21 round magazines, and they've got a little grip extension on them, and they actually fit up flush and they match in. So you can put the regular 17 round magazines in the TACOPS, but it does come with these 21 round magazines. And I have seen these occasionally for sale, but no, I haven't found anybody that's got them in stock. So that's one of the things with the 6 Hour marketing bundles like the TACOPS and some of these others. If you want these features, it's often cheaper and easier and a lot less frustrating to simply buy the gun packaged with the various features. So as it comes out of the box, it also has 4 of these, and the standard P320 generally has 3. So you'll get 4 of the 21 round magazines, you get the threaded barrel, you get the Sig suppressor height sights, and you get the flatter takedown lever, which may start to appear on other SIGs as they go forward. The full-size version of this would be the same. The only difference would be the barrel is longer on the full-size. The carry and the full-size have the same grip height as I mentioned, but the barrel is 0.8 inches longer on the full-size. So those are really the primary differences between the TACOPS and a regular P320. But we did find some interesting nuances that were different between these two guns that appear to be generational differences as SIG has evolved. They've made some changes to things, and they're known for doing that, and Glock and many of the others do. I'm going to show you a few of those differences. They may or may not be significant to the function of the weapon, but they're definitely interesting to see. One of the differences is the slide release lever. And so I get this where you can see it. Actually, this is a better angle here. You'll see how tall it is. From top to bottom, it's real tall, and it kind of protrudes right here. And if I go to the TACOPS, which would be representative of a newer P320, it's much shorter. It's only got a couple grooves. It doesn't have that protrusion. It doesn't have that bump on. It's just got a couple grooves, and it's a lot shorter. It's still quite easy to get a hold of, and if the gun were locked back, getting a hold of it to release it is still very easy. But it doesn't stick out, it doesn't get in the way as much, and it's less likely to snag as you're trying to draw the weapon. One of the other things that changed a little bit, and this is on the frame, is the guard. You can see it's kind of a U-shaped guard that protrudes a little bit to keep something from getting up under this and snagging on it. And on the original one, it's just a dash. And there's a few other minor nuances that as we take it apart, I'm going to show you the slides and a few other things they've changed as it's evolved, and I don't know if they've done it to streamline the manufacturing process or if they've done it to address various function issues that may have existed on the older guns. The other differences I'm going to show you really cycle around the slides, and I don't know how many of these are actually going to make a big difference in the function, but the first one I'm going to show you may, and that's the loading ramp. If you look at the loading ramp on the original one, it's a fairly steep incline starting real low, climbing up pretty steadily to a fairly high peak. And if you look at the loading ramp on this other one, I'm going to turn it where you can see the bevel, it actually starts at about the same point, bevels up somewhat steeply, and then flattens out for the rest of it. And that may have been put in place to address possible cycling issues with weaker ammo or different varieties of ammo, where this one of course is going to produce more drag. It's going to push the top round deeper into the magazine at the peak of it than this one would. So they may have done that actually to solve some cycling issues. Some of the other differences are really kind of nuances. If one thing you look at is the lightning cuts, where they're going to cut material out of the slide to lighten it to allow it to cycle the ammo and the caliber that it's supposed to be set up for. And you'll notice on the newer one there's just 2 holes drilled here. And on the older one, there's a complete notch. This is kind of a big egg-shaped notch right here. And the newer one is flat right here. Right in here, it's all flat. But the older one has kind of a cutout in it. Again, some material removed and a bit of a shelf. So it's like a 2-step, high and low. You can hear it click when it slides over it. And this one's just smooth. So they've changed the profile of the lightening cuts in it for whatever reason. A couple of the other changes they've made are at the front here. This one here has got kind of like a 2-stage, a little bit low and then high, and it's kind of curved, it's kind of smooth. And here, this ramp is much sharper. It's not really rounded at the base, it just kind of comes up at a steady angle. At the front, very, very minor difference, if I get them turned right, real minor difference right in this area, how the lightning cuts are made. Right in here versus right in here. And it's just, it's kind of like a little two-step shelf over here, and this one here is pretty straightforward. This, I'm going to suspect, is streamlining the manufacturing process. When you're running a CNC machine, the fewer differences that you have in the levels of the material, the fewer different types of cuts you've got to make, the faster you can go. So they've probably made some of these changes for the CNC milling process so that you can just program it to a particular depth and go across the whole level, instead of on here where you probably have to go through it 2 or 3 different times at different levels. And even back here you'll see there's a little bit of a lip right there that isn't present on this one. So they made a few changes, probably just to streamline their manufacturing process. And then the other difference I notice is the profile of the edges of this little valley that's been cut, this little well. This one's kind of beveled in, and this one's kind of straight. And they've even got different part numbers, which could also be because this one is the flat dark earth one. But it'd be based on the same casting and then just treated in 2 different ways. So again, some of these may have been manufacturing process improvements, and others may have been actual functional issues, like that loading ramp probably had something to do with complaints about different types of ammo, and that was an adjustment to compensate for that. But what I want to do is give you a quick look at the difference between the TACOPS package itself and a regular P320, as well as, since I had the opportunity to take a couple-year-old P320, and recently purchased 320, show you how it's evolved. So if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, check us out on Facebook, and have a great day. Thank you.